Sonic Adventure, a great game. Sonic Adventure 2, a great game as well. Sonic Heroes, it's okay. Now we have Sonic the Hedgehog, or Sonic 06 is what most people call it. Why does this game share its name with the classic title? Couldn't they see that can cause some confusion? I mean, yeah, you could always call the first title Sonic 1, but come on, don't rehash the name, it's just plain lazy. What if a sequel to this particular game was released? Would they call it Sonic the Hedgehog 2, further adding to the confusion? This game should have at least had some sort of subtitle like Sonic the Hedgehog, The Flames of Disaster, or Sonic the Hedgehog, Let's Mosey with Mephiles. Now, as you guys may have known, I already kind of dwelled into this game in my third part of my look back at 3D Sonic games, but like I said, this game really deserves its own video, maybe two. Oh, and I think one of you asked me this earlier, but the reason why I only show the CD of the game is because the case looks like this. Yeah, not very exciting. This is also the last time I'm going into this game. My mental capacity can only take so much of a beating. Because I already explained the plot in a nutshell the last time I looked at this game, I'll just go straight into the gameplay mechanics. Alright, well if you played any other previous 3D Sonic game, then you'll be immediately familiar with the controls. Let's start with Sonic. First and foremost, Sonic's average speed in this game is significantly slower than previous games, and occasionally his top speed actually drops. What the hell is going on here? Move it, goddammit! Because of Sonic's slower speed, stages are constantly splattered with dash panels. I'm serious, they're everywhere. Sonic shouldn't need so many dash panels to do something he should be able to do naturally. Sonic still has the homing attack, which now has actually been given quite a significant upgrade compared to the other games. Not only can it be used to home in on enemies and item boxes, but now it can home in on grind rails and target enemies that are above Sonic. So it's kind of like Sonic can ignore gravity altogether now. The spin dash also makes a return, but it's been horribly neutered in this game. Unlike previous 3D titles, you can't perform a spin dash on the fly. Nope, you have to stand completely still and then perform it. You can't in any shape or form perform it while running. If you do, you'll do the slide kick or the slide attack when you buy it, which in itself is extremely annoying because you can't cancel the attack and you have to wait until it finishes. Come on, stop sliding! Sonic stages are pretty much everything you expect from a 3D Sonic game. But this game introduces mock speed zones. In the final part of some Sonic stages, Sonic will decide to pick up the pace and begins to run incredibly fast down a straight path. During these sections, you can only move Sonic left and right with an incredibly stiff jump to supposedly help you avoid obstacles. You can also use the light speed attack to follow trails of rings to help you along the course. But this whole stage concept falls flat on its face. First off, like I mentioned, you can only move Sonic left and right and have him jump. Since Sonic is going so fast, you can't influence Sonic's direction when in midair, so you better hope your jumps are fucking precise to the max, otherwise you will die. And this level really takes the cake in extreme frustration.
That tornado's carrying a car!
Thank you, Sonic, I can see that. Look how much shit is thrown at you! How is it possible to complete this level without getting hit? It's almost like it's part of the mission. Get to the goal ring. Oh, and get hit by a car. Fuck! Oh, God. These absolutely have to be the worst snowboarding stages in Sonic history. Not only does it control awkwardly, but the jumping can be completely unresponsive when you really need it. Shit! Come on! God! How heavy is this bitch if she causes me to sink through the sand when carrying her? Fuck. Tails also makes a return, no longer sporting a mech, and somewhat back to his Sonic Adventure roots. Somewhat. My God, Tails, you are painfully slow! Okay, let's try flying. Okay, that's pretty much the same, but whoa, why does he lose all momentum when he's become tired of flying? That doesn't make any sense! From a scientific standpoint, anyway. And shouldn't there be a meter to signify how much flight time Tails has left? Well, apparently that was supposed to be implemented into the game, but because this game is the epitome of a rush job, it never happened. Ring bombs? What kind of attack is that? What's wrong with Tails' tails? And why does it randomly switch to some random first-person mode? It's awfully distracting. Actually, I think it has something to do with how hard you press the attack button. You can hold it down to aim the ring bombs in first-person mode, but without some sort of aiming reticule, you might as well be blindfolded. Tails, I never thought I'd say this, but I'd rather play as you in your mech. Or better yet, your Sonic Adventure 1 counterpart. Anyway, Knuckles and Rouge are also back, but they too been butchered. Well, first off, their speed has also been reduced drastically. It's faster to glide than it is to run with these two. Secondly, what in God's name happened to their combat moves? I can never tell if I'm actually hitting enemies here, and the charge attack is horribly random when you're trying to hit something. And just like Tails, Rouge also sports bombs. I mean, come on! Rouge's martial arts in Sonic Adventure 2 were just fine. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Oh, and sometimes Knuckles and Rouge also like to get stuck on walls. I've heard from some people that they've been stuck for as long as 10 minutes. I mean, wow, 10 minutes? Thankfully for me, they've only remained stuck for a few seconds, but still, it's incredibly annoying.
Let's get moving!
Shadow. Well, his vehicles make a return, but to me, they're terribly uninteresting. The only one I found remotely appealing was the motorcycle when chasing the train, but even then, the controls felt incredibly fuck. Damn it! Shadow plays pretty much like Sonic, with more emphasis on combat. When performing the homing attack, you can continuously mash the jump button to melee the shit out of your opponents. But it really doesn't look like I'm doing anything to them. To me, it just looks like Shadow's doing mid-air dancing, and the mere sight of him doing that is what causes harm to the enemies, even this train. He also has the ability to activate his chaos mode or something like that. But you know what? I rarely used it. In fact, I used so little of it that I actually forgot I had it and didn't record any footage of it. I'm dead serious. Omega gameplay is boring. Well, first off, he's faster than Sonic. That's right, the goddamn robot is faster than the main character, Sonic the Hedgehog. His cannon shots look and sound completely unsatisfying. The enemies die, yeah, but it sure doesn't sound like I'm hitting them with anything strong. You can also hover in midair by holding down the jump button, but as some of you may already know, you can constantly tap the jump button and essentially give him infinite airtime, allowing you to skip major chunks of the level. Abusing gameplay mechanics can be quite fun, right? Glaze the Cat. Now here's a fun character. She's faster than Sonic, her attacks are strong, and she's pretty much everything that Sonic should have been, minus the fire spin. That's pretty much all I can say about her. Well, I thought her drill attack could have been fine-tuned to be easier to execute, but even then, that's a real nitpick. Amy... ugh. Remember when I said back in my quick look at Sonic Adventure 1 that Amy made you wish you were Sonic instead? Well, in this game, Amy makes me wish I was anybody in this game but her. Seriously, Amy outright sucks in this game. Amy, you were questionably bad in Sonic Adventure, and then you got the badass upgrade in Sonic Heroes. What the fuck happened? When did she get the ability to become invisible? In what way does this tie into her character? Also, her double jump is really awkward. Upon jumping again in midair, Amy loses all momentum and then begins to fall straight down. Again with the momentum. What exactly is causing Amy or Tails to stop moving forward in midair? It's not supposed to happen! And can't you at least move and swing that hammer at the same time? Why must you come to a complete halt when swinging it? Ugh. And then, there was Silver, the new guy. He has psychic abilities which allow him to manipulate objects, control enemy projectiles, hover in midair for a short time, and, best of all, absolutely owns enemies. At the expense of speed! My god, this marijuana head is slow! I mentioned it before, but look at him in this cutscene. Why can't he do that in the actual game? What the fuck is that? That looks nothing like what he did in the cutscene. What's the point of this move anyway? Wow, he moved the whole extra foot there. And then there's the ball puzzle. Yeah, players of the game will know exactly what I'm talking about. The ball puzzle. Now, to be completely honest, I actually managed to complete the ball puzzle on my first attempt while recording footage for this review. Which I guess was good in terms of keeping my sanity, but completely destroys the point I'm about to bring up. The ball puzzle will break you. You have to maneuver this ball down an L-shaped path in this specific hole. Along the path, there are several metal boxes and other holes to interfere with your progress. You push the ball with Silver's attack, which pretty much moves in the direction Silver is facing. Each time you hit the ball, the number on it goes down by 1. When it reaches 0, it explodes on you, so you have to start over. Not only that, but after hitting the ball the first time, it begins counting down on its own. So not only do you have a time limit, but you can only hit the ball a certain amount of times before having to start all over. When I first encountered this puzzle, it took me, and I shit you not, 33 minutes to complete it. 33 minutes! That's an episode of The Simpsons with commercials that eventually leads into the beginning of an episode of Seinfeld. If you're playing this game for the first time, then mentally prepare yourself for the mind rape that is the ball puzzle. Unless you know the glitch that lets you face through the door completely skipping it. Me, I can never get it to work. Fuck. The controls are absolute balls. Movement is far too precise, and because of that, I found myself running into a lot of things when moving at a high speed. It's so frustrating when a dash panel seems to be hurling across the stage only for me to simply shift to the right or left and collide with the wall, bringing me to an instant halt. The collision detection is also a piece of shit. What the fuck just happened there? I was supposed to go through that window! Through it! Whoa, what happened? I swear to God I'm not doing this on purpose. No, I won't fall victim to that twice. How could they publish this game in the sorry state it was in? It's like buying an ice cream cone, but only getting the cone, and paying $60 for it! Ugh, and those fucking load times, they're everywhere! Starting a stage, in the middle of the stage, beginning a boss fight, after the boss introduction, the boss step, beginning a town mission after hearing in a sentence or two what the mission is, winning or failing the mission, hearing the person scold or congratulate you, loading the horrible This particular town mission takes the cake. You have to guess how many boxes are piled up there. 20 seconds later, you break the box to represent your guess. Then, 20 seconds later, you're told whether you're right or wrong. If you're wrong, then 20 seconds later, you're told you're wrong, and then 20 seconds later, you're brought back to the hub world. But if you're right, then you have to go through the guessing process like 4 more times with 20 seconds in between each answer. And don't get me started on that guess the captain minigame. In this particular minigame, you have to guess which is the real captain in order to advance to the next stage. And then you find out it's the first person you talked to in the first place. Well, thank you for wasting my fucking time. In case you didn't know, I have a princess to save. So thanks for prolonging my rescuing her, you fucking douche. To really seal in how terrible these load times are, take a look at this. And I'm not exaggerating anything here, folks. What went wrong? Installing the game on the 360 reduces the load times by about 5 to 6 seconds, so if you're willing to sacrifice 6 gigs of your precious memory for making the pain only slightly ease away, then be my guest. Hub Worlds! This game is the reason I hate Hub Worlds so much. They're too fucking big and severely lifeless. Look at this. Was this really necessary? There's no need for all this space, and it's worse when you're silver because you're too fucking slow. And it's so easy to get lost in them because everything looks the fucking same. Holy shit, I haven't been this angry since Sonic Genesis. Camera? Camera? Tree? Get the fuck out of the way! There. Who the fuck is this dude? In terms of glitches, well, to be honest, I never really came across any besides the wall glitch. Many times I found people complaining about glitches only because they were looking for them. And to me, well, don't blame the game if you're trying to glitch something on purpose. I don't consider this a glitch, I just think that's horrible collision detection. If they're the same thing, then I'll shut up. What is the deal with some of these achievements? Blue Phantom, Supersonic obtained the all moves? Unlocked the complete ending to the last hidden story? What the hell's going on here? Well, apparently this one means I have to S-rank the last mission, but I don't think it actually changes anything in the ending. In fact, I think it's bullshit. These are horribly English. Clear unlocked Sonic difficult level mission? My god, how English can you get? Not much to say about boss fights. They're pretty generic and they're kind of boring. But I'm pretty sure many of you remember your first encounter with Silver. Look, I'm going to show you not what to do when fighting him.
It's no use! Take this! It's no use! 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 It's no use!
There's also these upgrades that Sonic can later purchase when he has enough rings. I'm going to tell you this right now, some of these are a nice addition, but at the same time they're also incredibly game-altering. Look at this, I'm flying! I'm skipping the entire level just by flying! Apparently that bar in the lower right corner of the screen was supposed to limit Sonic's use of these gems, but it was never implemented, and because of that, you can use these regular gems as much as you want. Alright, so we played a 360 version, so that only leaves one particular question. Is it any better on the PlayStation 3? No, in fact, it's worse! The frame rates are a hell of a lot worse, the loading times are about 10 seconds longer than usual in some parts, and there's no way to install the game to shorten them. What the fuck, Sega? God, this jittering is making me sick. Brain scratch comms, assemble!
I can't fucking take this game anymore.
What are you complaining about now, Johnny?
I'm playing Sonic 06. Both versions.
Why did you buy it twice?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I bought it once, and I'm already sorry I bought it. I already want my money back. You bought it twice? Why?
I buried it in my backyard to never see it again, and all the plants surrounding where I buried it died.
Whoa. Really? I just traded it in, to get some of that money back.
It's worth money? No one told me that.
I feel so bad for the people that spent $60 on this game when it was first released. $60! I spent $14.99 on the 360 version, but I got that like a year ago, and I only spent $10 on the PS3 version. But
that's still $25 too much to spend on this game.
Why did you buy it twice?
I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. This game is a piece of shit.
I just feel bad for the guy who has to do it for our Brain Scratch channel.
Speaking of which, isn't it you, Solaris?
Yeah. If you'll excuse me, I'm just gonna go kill myself now.
So apparently we have an opening now. Great job, Johnny.
Overall, I really couldn't tell you what else to say about this game. Definitely one of the worst Sonic games I've ever played. But do I consider it the worst? No. If you essentially take away all the load times and maybe fine-tune a bit of the collision detection there, this game wouldn't be that bad. I mean, in its core, it's a Sonic adventure game. I mean, yeah, it's nowhere near as good as those titles, but essentially that's what it is. If you're willing to look past all of those problems that I mentioned, then, you know what, go for it. I can't stop you. Everybody has their own opinion, and this is strictly mine, so if you don't agree with me, then that's okay. But I'd recommend you stay far, far away from this game. The only two things I like about this game is the CGI graphics like the one I'm showing you now, and the music. It's really, really good. I'll give it a 4.5 out of 10. That about ends the month of Sonic. I'm John of the Super Gamer Brothers. You guys have a good night. And thanks. Okay, now is the moment that some of you have been waiting for. It's time for my review of Sonic Unleashed. Now, if you guys have seen my 3-part series of 3D Sonic games, you might have realized that I think that Sonic titles are pretty hit and miss. So, does Sonic Unleashed completely crap on those titles, or is it just another addition to that steaming pile of crap? Let's plug it in and find out. Okay, so I previously stated in my rant of Sonic Unleashed that I found the game pretty damn enjoyable, but that isn't exactly specific, so let's take a deeper look. Now, upon the announcement of the game, a lot of people viewed it with an extremely negative eye, namely because of one thing, Sonic's Warhog transformation. Even I was truly skeptical about it because it looked completely stupid. Now, as the months went by, new footage of the game became released showing Sonic off in his true glory. Then the Warhog footage was shown and my predictions were true. It's completely combat based. In fact, upon glancing at the footage, I immediately thought of God of War, only with Sonic, in his Warhog form. Anyway, release day came and I couldn't wait to finally try this game out. I put the game inside the Xbox 360, fired the game up, and was greeted by the opening cinematic. Just looking at this video reminds me of Sonic's days of old, where it was just him versus Robotnik, or Eggman, whatever you prefer. Sonic appears to be captured, but then goes super, completely catching Eggman off guard, or so we think. Upon completely obliterating some of Eggman's bases, Super Sonic traps Eggman in a corner where he begs Sonic not to destroy him. Sonic begins smack-talking to him, giving him Eggman enough time to activate a machine which traps Super Sonic and sucks the energy out of the Chaos Emeralds. It then powers up a beam that Eggman fires towards the planet. The result is the planet becoming separated into 7 pieces, awakening a creature within known as Dark Gaia. Seriously, how the hell does the planet not die from such an event? Not to mention, just how many people died when this shit happened. I mean, seriously, if Sonic Team thinks we can safely go on and think that nobody was harmed when this happened, they must think that we were either raised with football helmets on our heads or completely oblivious to logic. Anyway, while all this is happening, Sonic undergoes a bizarre transformation, leaving him fuzzier and slightly more menacing than before. Oh look, it turns out Sonic actually has hands. The day when we actually see Sonic's feet is when Sonic fangirls are crying enjoyment. After that, Eggman launches Sonic out of the base and lets him fall towards the earth, expecting him to die. Of course, if Shadow the Hedgehog can survive the fall, then I'm sure Sonic can. Sonic manages to land on solid ground, though I gotta say, if he managed to land in the now exposed core of the earth, I'd be laughing pretty damn hard. Upon regaining consciousness, Sonic finds a little critter that he landed on upon impact who can't remember anything about himself.
Uh-oh. Did I fall on him?
Lawsuit!
Sonic feels that he was responsible for his memory loss and decides to help him. The sun rises and Sonic reverts back to his original form. So, while it's daytime, Sonic's himself. But while at night, he's the Warhog. While taking a stroll around the town, Sonic decides to name the creature Chip after witnessing him having a total orgasm over dessert.
I love it!
Oh, no. With the help of his old buddy Tails and Professor Pickle, yes I know that's his name, Sonic finds out that he must travel to each broken continent and place a Chaos Emerald inside the continent's temple in order to restore its power and put the Earth back together. After restoring the 6th temple, Chip manages to regain his memory where he tells Sonic that he's actually like Gaia, the complete opposite of Dark Gaia, and that it's his job to put an end to Dark Gaia's rampage. Sonic, of course, won't let him do that alone and decides to go with him to restore one last temple. While harnessing the power of Dark Gaia, Eggman finally manages to create Eggman Land, which I still think is a pretty lame-ass name. It just so happens that the last temple is inside this circus from hell, so Sonic and Chip head inside. They manage to reach the temple and restore the final Chaos Emerald. There they fight Eggman in one final confrontation where Sonic the Warhog promptly hands his ass to him. Dark Gaia is restored to full power and turns on Eggman, big freaking surprise there, and turns his attention towards Sonic and Chip. Upon glancing at Sonic, he rips the Warhog from within, making it impossible for him to become that abomination ever again. Dark Gaia then attempts to kill the weakened Sonic, but Chip intervenes and uses the power within to do the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a long time.
Awaken and gather here to me!
Did anybody else play the Power Rangers theme when witnessing this? So, with Chip controlling the Gaia Colossus and Sonic becoming Super once more, the two managed to obliterate Dark Gaia complete with slow motion and an anticlimactic flash. Fulfilling his duty, Chip sends Sonic back to the surface while the last piece of the planet is set in place, leaving Chip inside the core with the dying Dark Gaia. Sonic regains his composure and speeds off with Tails, ending the game with a satisfying note. Looking at this scene, again, reminds me of the old days, where Sonic rode on top of the tornado as the credits scrolled by. Those were the days. Okay, story aside, how does the game play? Well, like Sonic and the Secret Rings, you only control Sonic throughout the game. Each continent has their own respective daytime stages and nighttime stages. During the day, you're Sonic in all of his glory, and during the night, you control his Warhog form. When you finish a stage, you're given a final score and a ranking like the previous titles. Depending on your performance, you can also gain experience to increase attributes like Sonic's maximum speed, the boost gauge, or any of the Warhog's many attributes. In order to access more stages, you need to collect Sun and Moon medals. Think of it as like collecting Power Stars in Super Mario 64, only just stupid. Seriously, what were they thinking when they decided to put medal collecting in this game? Some stages require large amounts of medals to gain access, and most of the time you'll be blazing past them in Sonic stages. They're easier to spot on the Warhog stages, but that's only because you're not soaring around at the speed of sound. Whatever happens to just going from stage to stage? Daytime stages are absolutely incredible. The sheer sense of speed you can achieve is mind-blowing. You don't believe me? Just take a look. Taking a note from Sonic Rush, Sonic now has a boost maneuver. Pressing the X button sends Sonic going insanely fast, destroying everything in his path. Sonic's homing attack is back in full swing, though now it's been oddly giving its own button. Before you had to jump and press the jump button again in order to perform it, but now after jumping with the A button, you now have to press the X button in order to execute it. It took a while for me to get used to, but it's no big deal. Until I learned the air boost. Initially, Sonic could only perform the Sonic boost on the ground, but after obtaining the air boost shoes, he can now perform it in mid-air. Can you guess what button you press? That's right, the X button. So what does this mean? Simple. Sometimes when I'm trying to perform the homing attack, I accidentally do the air boost, usually sending me hurling to my death. It makes me wonder why they couldn't just leave it hitting the A button twice. Sonic also now has the quick step. With the press of LB or RB, Sonic will quickly step to the side to keep his momentum going. In addition to 3D gameplay, there's also 2D gameplay thrown into the mix, harkening Sonic back to his Genesis days. Though it doesn't exactly emulate the feel of the old titles, it's still pretty damn fun. Of course, Sonic isn't all about running through shit. There's also plenty of platforming, keeping things from getting stale. On a side note, Sonic also has this sweep kick, but I haven't found one use for this move whatsoever. When the sun sets, the Warhog comes into play. Gone is the thrilling speed, and what we're left with is pure combat and platforming. Think of it as a mixture of God of War and Kingdom Hearts, only not as fun. You attack by swinging Sonic's arms, which for some reason now have the ability to stretch like Stretch Armstrong. You can alternate between the X and Y buttons to pull off some fancy looking combos, and you can use the B button to grab enemies with an arrow above their head. Then, after inputting the button sequence on time, you can perform a combo finisher which finishes the enemy off. Upon killing enemies, you also fill up a meter that, when filled to a certain point, allows Sonic to enter his Unleashed state. His strength increases as well as his movement capabilities, and definitely makes combat easier to handle. He also has a shield button, but you know what? I never once used it. Sometimes I completely forgot I had it in the first place, but I managed to finish the game just fine. Though Sonic the Warhog can't run nearly as fast as his daytime counterpart, he can still dash, which makes exploration a little easier. He can also double jump and use his stretchy arms to grab onto the ledges and climb up poles. However, these stages are more of a drag than they are fun. One serious problem is they take forever to finish. Some stages have me clocking on 30 to 35 minutes, and that's when I play with minimum error. The enemies you face are also extremely boring. Besides the usual egg bots, you also fight Dark Gaia spawn, but there's little to no variety in them, so fighting them becomes pretty boring with each passing stage. The platforming sections aren't so bad, but they can be pretty frustrating because of the view you're given in some stages. Sometimes you can't see where to jump next, and sometimes you're not sure what to jump on. And for some strange reason, Sonic doesn't always have a drop shadow, which makes it impossible to determine where you're gonna land. It doesn't sound so bad, but in 3D platforming stages, drop shadows are a constant must. Where the hell did they go when they disappear? Also, I've heard about people complaining about how awkward it is to grab poles and ledges, but a simple cure is to simply hold the B button down when making tricky jumps. Sonic will automatically grab the nearest available ledge as long as you're close enough. Also, am I the only one who thinks Sonic's death scream as the Warhog is completely over the top? Jesus! What, did he receive testicular torture while falling into the abyss? Make sure you tune in for part 2 of my Sonic Unleashed review. I didn't mean it to be 2 parts, but shit happens. Well, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for part 2. It's coming up real soon. Now, I mentioned in my rant video that the Warhawk stages aren't that bad, but after I finished the game, I found no interest in replaying any of them. I love replaying the Sonic stages, but I can't find myself to go through the Warhawk stages again just to collect more medals and improve my status. But one stage I can't replay no matter who I am is the final stage, Eggman Land. Seriously, this place is hell incarnate with roller coasters. There's difficult, but then there's just cheap. It's bad enough that this stage throws everything at you with the kitchen sink, but it's so freaking long. It took me 72 minutes to complete this stage the first time. 72 minutes! An hour and 12 minutes on one stage?
This is blasphemy! This is madness!
To the person out there who managed to complete this stage in about 10 minutes, I applaud you, you freak. Seriously, you must be from another planet to accomplish such a feat. But seriously, good job. Boss battles are pretty damn fun, especially Sonic's battles against Dr. Eggman. Not only are they fast-paced, but they're also an intense test of reflexes. The Warhawk's boss battles aren't too bad either, but they're definitely more slower paced. Now the last boss, Dark Gaia, is a completely different genre. I hate this boss battle. After finishing a ridiculously easy fight with Eggman and his Egg Dragoon, Dark Gaia takes the scene. You begin the fight by controlling the Gaia Colossus, which moves with the grace of a sumo wrestler. You have to make it to Dark Gaia in order to inflict damage, but along the way he'll throw great balls of fire and a giant laser which is impossible to avoid. And I'm not kidding about that. You're gonna get hit with that laser no matter what. You have a guard button which lowers the damage you take, and a punch button which can take out the boulders that are unavoidable. But it's delayed beyond belief. You have to time it just right or you can kiss a chunk of your health goodbye. After reaching Dark Gaia, you input more button sequences to lay the smackdown on him, and then you're given control of Sonic. Sonic's goal is to get to one of Dark Gaia's many eyeballs and give it a beating when he reaches it. After reaching the eye, you're given control of the Gaia Colossus again, where you repeat the sequence 2 more times, getting more difficult as you progress. Holy shit, did you see that? Good lord, look at that. That's creepy. Good lord, I thought this face was disturbing, but looks like I just found my new face. The difficulty of the Gaia's Colossus sections aren't too noticeable, but Sonic's portions are just downright evil. While trying to reach the eye, you have to avoid touching the Dark Gaia tentacles and projectiles that his spawn throw at you, which also have a pretty large blast radius upon hitting the ground, making them almost impossible to avoid. Not only that, but you're on an invisible time limit. If you don't make it to the eye a few seconds after Chip says, "Hi, Sonic!" then you might as well restart the section over again, because you probably won't make it. Anyway, the final boss consists of Super Sonic vs. Perfect Dark Gaia. Upon starting this fight, I'm immediately reminded of the Doomsday Zone, where you have to collect rings and avoid rocks until you reach the boss himself. Unlike previous titles where Super Sonic's lifespan is determined by how many rings he has left, he now has a life bar which he can fill up by collecting rings. It's an odd change, but I don't mind it too much. After reaching Perfect Dark Gaia, I have to eliminate his shield, being emitted by 6 dragon heads all across it. From this point, the action becomes 2D and you must guide Super Sonic to ram straight into the dragon heads. While doing this, you have to keep in mind of the Gaia Colossus' health bar, which acts as the time limit of the sword because if it goes down completely, you have to start over. God damn it, Chip! Can't you just leave this battle to Super Sonic? After removing the shield, the rest of the battle simply becomes hitting the right button on time as Super Sonic finishes Perfect Dark Gaia, ending with you button mashing the shit out of the X button. The music in this game, again, is great. In my opinion, it still doesn't beat out Sonic Adventure, but there's more variety in this soundtrack than ever. Each stage music reflects the area that you're in, like a more oriental sound when in the China stages, and a more of a tropical sound when you're in Adabat, an island-based stage. The Warhawk stage music is also fantastic, but one you might get sick of pretty damn fast is the battle music whenever you encounter an enemy. It's a pretty upbeat track in itself, but it plays every time you encounter an enemy that isn't a boss, and because of that, it gets really repetitive really fast. The regular boss music is also pretty catchy, my favorite being the Warhawks because it's a song you can tap your foot along. But I can't help but think of that one musical piece that used to play in the Chips Ahoy commercials. The final boss music is also incredible, another job well done by the sound crew. It just adds to the overall feel of the final battle, and for that, I applaud it. The voice acting is also pretty good. Sonic's delivery is top notch as well as Dr. Eggman's. Tails' voice is nowhere near as high pitched as it was in the last game, and even Amy isn't too annoying this time around. The only character that truly bugs me is Chip. I don't mind the character, but his voice seems so inappropriate for his figure.
Yeah, Chip! Chip! I love it! Yum! Now,
it's like a little girl greeting you, but when she opens her mouth, her voice
Sounds like this.
Secondly, where does he keep pulling that chocolate bar from?
Want some chocolate, Professor? Want some chocolate?
On second thought, I'd rather not know. Overall, this game is pretty solid, but as a person who's grown up with Sonic, I have a few nitpicks. First off, I can't help but notice how much wimpier they're making Sonic nowadays. Now, it's known that Sonic cannot swim, but in this game, Sonic can't even touch water without dying. Whatever happened to the old days where Sonic could run in water? A similar rule applies to the final battle with Super Sonic. You have to avoid the rocks while moving toward the shield. If you touch them, you get hurt. Whatever happened to the old Super Sonic where he could touch rocks and shit without leaving a scratch? Sure, it slowed down his progress a bit, but at least he didn't lose any rings or health. Secondly, where's the goddamn spin dash? I know it's a bit unnecessary in this game considering that Sonic has the Sonic Boost, but come on, the spin dash is classic. Hell, Sonic can't even roll into a ball while running around anymore. Why not? It's like having a Mario game without the Fire Flower. You just need it. Going back to the subject of Super Sonic, when we're finally going to be able to play as him in regular stages? It sucks that one of the greatest features in the old games have been reduced to a last battle event only. And this has been going on since Sonic Adventure 1. Hell, even the recent handheld Sonic games don't even have Super Sonic in regular levels. Come on, Sonic Team, give the people what they want. Bring Super Sonic back in regular levels. Last but not least are the hub worlds. Now, I know some people don't mind them, but me, I can't stand them. I don't like the hub worlds. They completely detract away from the overall experience of the game. I just wish the game would go from stage to stage. I don't know about you guys, but I don't find anything enjoyable about moving around and talking to people in order to access the next stage. It should just be from stage to stage like the classic games. Well, that's my opinion anyway. I can go on a bit longer with the nitpicking, but I'll leave that in a future video. Overall, the Sonic stages are incredible, the boss battles are great, and the music is fantastic. My only gripes are with the Warthog. It just seems so unnecessary, and it's a shame that you have to play with him a lot. If the game consisted of nothing but Sonic daytime stages, then this game would be my favorite 3D Sonic game by far. But that's simply not the case, and because of that, this game falls short of complete greatness. So for my final score, I'd give Sonic Unleashed around an 8 out of 10. And yes, I changed the rating system. This one feels a little more flexible.